Then screams and exclamations of astonishment filled the air.
Holy smokes, holy freaking smokes.
Come again. Elder, what did you just say? Say it again.
Gavin Owens' eyes were wide open. He directly grabbed Leo King's hands in disbelief.
What did you say? Say it again.
The corner of Leo King's mouth twitched as he quickly withdrew his hand from Gavin's grip. They were amazingly ill-informed, he thought.
Here's the thing,
Just as the seventh prince was about to explain, he was stopped by Leo King. The bearer of good news should be his to play. Immediately, he cleared his throat and took the stage.
It appears you must have been slow to receive the news, and one of paramount importance at that. I was the one who took Zane Martell to participate in the selection of the Dragon Envoy of Carlton.
The crowd hung on his every word, breaths held in anticipation. Even the protectors of the Carlton Dragon Palace couldn't help but give him a thumbs up when they saw his performance in the fighting ring.
Zane Martell has turned the tide with all his might. He has scored the Dragon Envoy of Newland with his own strength.
Leo King's eyes sparkled with pride as he continued.
I have never in my life seen a more talented man than him.
Leo King couldn't help chortling and stroking his beard. All of a sudden, the whole place quieted down to dead silence.
God be praised. That's Zane Martell for you. He's brought a new meaning to amazing.
The crowd stood in stunned silence, grappling with the monumental news. Even the protectors of the Carlton Dragon Palace couldn't help but give him a thumbs up when they saw his performance in the fighting ring.
Zane Martell has turned the tide with all his might. He has scored the Dragon Envoy of Newland with his own strength.
Leo King's eyes sparkled with pride as he continued.
I have never in my life seen a more talented man than him.
Leo King couldn't help chortling and stroking his beard. All of a sudden, the whole place quieted down to dead silence.
God be praised. That's Zane Martell for you. He's brought a new meaning to amazing.
I knew it. I knew he would never let us down.
Liam Brooke and Gavin Owens couldn't help throwing their heads back laughing.
Oh, did you know? This is my first time hearing it.
Well, now you know. No way. Look, I've always believed that Zane Martell would not lose to Leonard Hunter, but you all seemed to believe otherwise.
The scene immediately erupted into heated excitement, with the noise rising and falling. Everyone's adrenaline was pumping and going into overdrive.
All hail the Dragon Envoy of Newland. Our Zane Martell is the Dragon Envoy of Newland.
Never had they ever imagined that he could have secured the title of the Dragon Envoy of Newland. They had thought that Zane Martell would already be impressive enough if he could become the Dragon Envoy of Carlton. However, at this moment, they realized that they had missed the base by a whole lot. Their estimation of his strength couldn't be further from reality. Gavin Owens, riding the wave of excitement, strutted deliberately to the border of the two armies, mimed scratching his head in confusion, and sneered loudly.
What's the matter, folks? Did you really think Leonard Hunter could hold a candle to our Zane Martell? Remind me again who just said that his son has become the Dragon Envoy of Newland? Oh, wasn't it you, Orion Slade? Now this is a screw-up, all right?
Blood rushed to Orion Slade's face, his knuckles turning white from inner tension. He wanted nothing more than to dig a hole and hide in it. He had spectacularly mortified himself this time. However, never in his wildest dreams would he have anticipated Zane Martell to be the Dragon Envoy of Newland. His son, Leonard Hunter, had been defeated by Zane Martell. What a shame.
Oh, old wolf, that's not a good way to put it. How is this a screw-up? His dear son did almost become the Dragon Envoy of Newland, it's a fact. But lo and behold, the title of the Dragon Envoy of Newland in the end went straight to Zane Martell.
The old royal family burst into laughter. Everyone's heart was filled with joy. Orion Slade had ridiculed them just a second ago, and look how the tables have turned. Since we already knew about it, why don't we return to your military camp and discuss some matters regarding Zane Martell? The Carlton Palace and the Star Kingdom in the Zora Mountains have brought a lot of holy grails for you. Leo King chuckled. He did not deny that Leonard Hunter was a talent, but he was much weaker than Zane Martell. Therefore, Leo King naturally needed to think of a way to curry favor with Zane Martell's kin. If Zane Martell was pleased, Leo King might be able to receive more rewards in front of the elders of the Carlton Dragon Palace in the Tranquil Sea region. Happy Zane Martell, Happy Leo King. Gavin Owens and the others' eyes lit up. They patted their heads and secretly scolded themselves for having shown no manners. How could they have left such a big shot standing for such a long time?
Please.
Please.
When the two sides entered the military camp, only the furious Orion Slade and his men were left. In the cold, they were left dumbfounded and surprised. In the Carlton Dragon Palace of the Tranquil Sea region, a voice-transmitting talisman whooshed in from the void and stopped in front of Zane Martell.
Hey, this is a voice-transmitting talisman. Who sent me a message? Victor Quinn? No, is it Caleb Pierce?
A figure suddenly flashed across Zane Martell's mind. That figure was Caleb Pierce. Caleb Pierce's identity was very mysterious, and the previous invitation had also been given to him by Caleb Pierce. Zane Martell had expected Caleb Pierce to be a member of the Carlton Palace. He was even in a branch palace of the Tranquil Sea region. He must have known that Zane Martell had become the Dragon Envoy of Newland, which was why he sent his congratulations. Crack! Zane Martell crushed the voice-transmitting talisman, after which a woman's voice came from inside.
Do you have time? Let's meet in the Newland space.
The voice did not reveal its identity, but it left Zane Martell mystified. A woman? He had just joined the Carlton Palace, so he was not familiar with the people here.
A woman? Who could it be? And why does she want to meet in the Newland space?
Zane Martell's curiosity was piqued. He decided to investigate and find out who this mysterious woman was and what she wanted. With a determined look, he prepared to head to the Newland space, the anticipation of the unknown driving him forward. The only ones he was familiar with were Victor Quinn and Dante Kane, but they were not women. So the question remained, who was the woman looking for him? Out of curiosity, Zane Martell walked out of the Newland space. At this moment, there was a pavilion in an open space in front of him. Inside the pavilion, there was a stone platform and 2 stone chairs. On one of the stone chairs sat a girl in her early 20s.
Were you the one who sent me the voice-transmitting talisman?
Zane Martell's expression changed slightly. He walked forward and sat down in front of the young lady. As he approached the young lady, Zane Martell first smelled a faint female fragrance. It was like an orchid in the wind, faint and elegant. He was stunned. When he glanced at the woman's face, surprise registered on his face. The woman was in her early 20s. She had long and shapely eyebrows, limpid eyes, a delicate nose, sexy red lips, and glowy cheeks, which almost rendered Zane Martell spellbound. He subconsciously glanced at the woman's body. She was wearing a tight red and white robe, but couldn't hide her plump and curvy figure. It gave Zane Martell a kind of feeling that she was not only the daughter of a reputable family, but also a sexy stunner. At the same time, there was also a mismatched air of a valiant general around her.
Well, that sure is a long stare. Is my body that bewitching?
The lady was the antithesis of diffidence. She stared at Zane Martell and spoke in a cold voice. Zane Martell smiled awkwardly. He did not expect his secretive gaze to have been discovered and laid in the open.
It is.
He blurted out subconsciously. Taken by slight surprise, the woman frowned. She seemed to be a little angry, but less than mad. Zane Martell had actually answered her as though that was a genuine question. Seeing that the woman was a little displeased, Zane Martell smiled awkwardly and said,
Should I have said no instead?
The woman's brows furrowed even more tightly. She clenched her fists and took a deep breath. In the end, she let go of her fists.
Humph, let's cut the crap. My name is Sylvia Carl, and I'm the Dragon Envoy of Beastland this time.
Zane Martell's eyes lit up. He once again sized up Sylvia Carl in a different light. The Dragon Envoy of Beastland? The delicate girl in front of him was actually the Dragon Envoy of Beastland. Zane Martell had not expected that. He had assumed that the Four Sides Dragon Envoys were all brawny men with martial skills, and what they lacked in martial skills, they should more than make up for with physical prowess. However, the delicate and soft Sylvia in front of him gave him the opposite impression of what he had anticipated. Could it be an illusion?
The name's Zane Martell, the Dragon Envoy of Newland.
Zane Martell also introduced himself.
You're Zane Martell, I know. Mr. Busher of the Folktown has a high opinion of you. Who knows, you might be accepted by the Folktown? No muss, no fuss.
It seemed that she had done her homework before meeting Zane Martell. However, for some unknown reason, Zane Martell had a vague feeling that Sylvia was not too thrilled to meet him. He began to rummage through his memory to see if he had offended her in any way. Or was his way of speaking just now too abrupt?
I wonder why Miss Carl has invited me here.
Sylvia didn't keep him guessing and went straight to the point.
Since you've already asked, then I'll make it clear.
What could Sylvia mean by this direct approach? The atmosphere between them was becoming increasingly tense, as if a storm was brewing just beneath the surface.
I know the specialty of the Newland space. It's the seawater from Sky Mountain. I need it, so I'm here to perform a trade with you.
Zane Martell was not surprised by this. The Forsyth's dragon envoys each had their space, each of which had different specialties. Just as the specialty of the Newland space was the seawater from Sky Mountain, the other spaces naturally boasted their own specialties.
Fair enough. Dare I ask what the Beastland space is rich in?
Not one to stand on ceremony, Zane Martell poured himself a cup of tea, took a sip, and asked,
Magic soil.
Zane Martell frowned, masking his inner wonder with composure. Magic soil? Zane Martell also had in his possession a chunk of magic soil, which was only the size of a palm and was colorful. It had been gifted to him by Elora. Zane Martell had once used this chunk of soil to reproduce a large amount of the verdant frog seeds. It could be said to be the ideal high-grade soil for spiritual plants.
Okay, how do you propose we perform this trade?
Sylvia straightforwardly proposed the ratio of the exchange.
1 pound of magic soil for 100 pounds of Sky Mountain seawater.
Zane Martell frowned and coldly said,
Miss Sylvia, you can't suppose I know nothing about the value of the seawater, can you? While magic soil may be precious, for you to propose exchanging 1 pound of it for 100 pounds of seawater is making me sound like a fool. Or in your eyes, is there no difference between the seawater from Sky Mountain and the ordinary seawater?
Magic soil had the effect of accelerating the growth of plants and providing them with more vital energy. Every ordinary alchemist who had a field of his own would be equipped with a bit of magic soil. Unfortunately, this type of soil was extremely rare and there was no market at all in the outside world. However, the seawater from Sky Mountain was equally precious. 100 pounds of it was enough to cause slight changes in the concentration of the surrounding vital energy. It was simply a fantasy for Sylvia to wish to exchange 1 pound of magic soil for 100 pounds of seawater.
You underestimate the value of Sky Mountain seawater, Miss Carl.
The tension in the room grew palpable as they stood firm on their positions, each unwilling to budge. What would be the outcome of this standoff over the exchange?
Then, how much do you demand?
1 pound of magic soil for 10 pounds of seawater.
No can do. Well, it looks to me like it's impossible for us to reach an agreement. I suggest calling it a day.
Standing up, Zane Martell was about to leave. Behind him, Sylvia's eyebrows were locked together, her pair of fairy-like eyes darting, as if she was scrambling for a way. Suddenly, she opened her mouth.
Okay, why don't we make a bet?
Zane Martell stopped in his tracks, letting his curiosity get the better of him.
A bet? How?
Simple. Everyone wants to know who is stronger among the Forsyth's dragon envoy. Why don't we fight? Should you beat me, we can proceed with 1 pound of magic soil for 10 pounds of seawater from Sky Mountain. But if I win, everything will be according to what I said.
Fine, you have a deal. When should we do it?
The challenge was set, and the air crackled with anticipation. What would unfold in this duel between Zane Martell and Sylvia? The outcome could decide the fate of their negotiation, and perhaps even their future interactions. With his current strength, Zane Martell had never been afraid of anyone below the semi-Martial King level. Even if one was a half step to the Martial King level, they might not be able to defeat him unless they were a Martial King level expert. Although the gap between Martial King and semi-Martial King levels was small, the difference in power was immense. As the saying goes, anyone below the Martial King level is an ant.
Now?
Now? Where?
Follow me.
Sylvia got up and walked toward the north of the mountain. Ripples appeared in the void, and she quickly integrated into it. Seeing this, Zane Martell was stunned for a moment, hesitated briefly, and followed her in. In the Beastland space, deserted land stretched as far as the eye could see. The wild wind was raging in the air, howling and whistling. In front of Zane, Martell was a huge courtyard. Behind it lay vast lands. However, Zane Martell was immediately stunned upon seeing this land. It was far from ordinary. It was a piece of colorful soil. The entire plain was mixed with yellow, red, blue, green, and black soil, each emitting a faint starlight. Even before stepping foot onto it, Zane Martell could sense the vibrant life energy contained within.
Magic soil. These are all magic soil. Oh my god, color shocked me. This is way too much.
This plain formed by magic soil was at least 7 or 8 kilometers long, and its weight remained unknown. Perhaps it was because Sylvia had just moved into the Beastland space and had not had time to plant plants, which explained why there was nothing on the ground, not even a single plant.
Sylvia, you're a miserly one, I'm telling you. You're overflowing with magic soil, yet you still have the nerve to offer a trade of 1 pound for 100 pounds.
This is my own business. I don't need you to judge it. You think I don't know that your seawater is probably more than my soil? The vital energy in the Beastland space is too arid, too dry. I need your seawater to transform the vital energy.
Cut the crap. Let's start.
Sylvia moved her hands and put them on her waist, then unexpectedly began to take off her pants. Zane Martell was stunned and hurriedly waved his hand.
Wait, we can always talk this through. You didn't have to strip. Didn't you say you were going to fight with me? You didn't mean that kind of fight, did you?
The tension between them shifted from negotiation to an unexpected turn. What kind of fight did Sylvia have in mind? And how would Zane Martell navigate this new challenge?